Alba, what's happening?
What's good with you?
Man, I'm chilling, I'm chilling, I'm chilling. So I guess I'll start it off. I just want to say that your film is like I was telling you earlier, it's kind of like a mixture of like Fruitvale Station and Last Black Man in San Francisco. And the
Yeah.
reason why I say that is because like, it has like that real like, grit, like grainy feel, like Fruitvale, where you could feel that town essence in it. But it has that beauty and that poetic type of feel where the words are lifting off the page and the music, is very Barry Jenkins like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that it was fly. So I guess the first question that I want to ask you was you know, it's always hard, what was it like preparing your actors? I know that's something that you got to kind of give them inspiration, and you got to walk with them through lines, and you got to make sure that their head is mentally in it. But what was that like?
Yeah, that was like I did it different than what I usually approach it. Um for one, I didn't allow them to address each other by their actual names. I kept
Mm,
them in their character the entire time throughout the entire shooting, throughout the whole pre-production. They didn't know who each other were. Actually, the cop character didn't what he didn't even he didn't even face the actors. Like they didn't even know what he looked like, if that makes,
mm,
yeah. He stayed behind them the entire time, so they didn't even come face to face until we actually shot.
mm.
So yeah, I thought that that was pretty important to keep them in character the entire time. I didn't want them to have to play a role. I wanted them to feel like they were actually the character.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, they were so naturally talented though. Like I didn't have to do too much coaching for them. I kind of just let them do their thing, and there was times where they kind of reminded me about certain things. So yeah, it was they were just naturally talented, to be honest with you.
Were they like normal people? Like, no, I don't want to say normal people because we were all normal, but
Normal people.
were they like studying to be actors, or were they just like, hey, bro, like, come shoot with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, most of them were actually actors, except for our lead. Our lead's actually a musician, um,
Mm,
but he was just so perfect for the role that it
yeah.
just made sense. You
Yeah,
just feel it.
musicians, yeah, they already act, on a normal basis when
True,
they're in the booth, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
true, true, true. But
So,
yeah, they killed it, yo. I'm so proud of
oh,
them.
heck yeah, bro, y'all got to do something that you just saying like how you train them to literally like stay in character. Like, I feel like that's the thing that's so beautiful about acting and the filmmaking is it's all mental. Like
Yeah,
Heath Ledger, he had to like lock himself in his room to do Dark Knight, and he literally unfortunately passed, but he got so into character. You do it for that camera, that moment where you're on screen. It's kind of like the camera is a person, you feel me, and
exactly.
that person is watching you, and you kind of act like it's not even there, like you have a real conversation, you feel me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. They got so into it. I'm so happy about them.
Yeah.
Um, for you, I have a question for you, which is pretty important because, like me not being an Oakland native, I watched your music video, which is absolutely beautiful.
Like,
Um, but I found myself questioning who is Dre Grant. I know who Oscar
mm,
Grant is, but who is
yeah,
Dre Grant, and who is he to Brookfield?
man, it's a funny thing. The universe has a very strange way of working, right? So Dre Grant is actually Oscar Grant's uncle, right? And Dre is this neighborhood legend that was always in Brookfield. He was known to tear it up, and but he had a heart, and his heart really was the essence of who he was, and he really cared for people. And there was
Mhm.
moments where he was dancing on set, he was having fun, he was just a joy. You could see, you could see in the video, but he knew when to turn it on and turn it off. And
Yeah,
that last quote, where he was like, "Nah, it's not a gang. Like this is a community." And I think that it's just, it's super unfortunate that he passed away last week. But I think that, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, by doing this video for him, shout out to Dame, Deuce, you
Yeah.
know, the Crocker brothers, Squint, Sutton, Marcus. You know, we kind of, you know, with any cast, you know, you kind of bond as a family. So, you know, I look at Dame and Deuce like older brothers. I look at Dre Grant like he was like an uncle damn near. You know what I mean? So it's actually
Mhm.
funny. Like my boy FaceTime me because he always stops by Brookfield, and my boy FaceTime me like last Saturday. He was like, "Oh man, Dre Grant up in here," and sadly enough, you know, he was like, you know, Dre kind of told me, he was like, "Man, like it's my birthday next Saturday, man." And I think that would have probably been last Saturday or this Saturday, but
Mhm.
he was like, "Man, you going to drive up here, man?" I was like, "Oh man, I live down in LA, man." And you know, then unfortunately, you know, we got the text that he passed away.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, a lot of my homie Squint just hit me up. He said, "Man, like, you know, I always get these comparisons to Ryan Coogler, and you know, my homie hit me up. He was like, "Man, like, you know, Ryan did Oscar, and you did Dre." So it's
True.
crazy how yeah, it's almost weird, but I don't ever question God or I don't ever question the universe. So I just rock with how it is, you
Mhm. I can see it. I can see the comparison.
know.
No, you're talented, man. That video is beautiful. It really is.
Thank you. The second question that I wanted to ask you was, I'm a big fan of color, and I'm a big fan of like having texture in anything that I work on in grain. So uh you know, who did the color, and did you go in with the intention of making it look like it was shot on film or with a heavy grain, or did you guys actually shoot on film? And to anybody that's listening, like shooting on film is like shooting on like a older style of camera to make it look like grainier instead of super HD like you're watching a Avengers movie. And I've never watched the Avengers, but
Yes, you have. Don't, don't lie.
yeah. I swear to God.
Um, Josh Basanos actually did the coloring. Um, he's so amazing. He also gaffed, so he had that connection. He was on set with us, so he was familiar with the shoot already. But as far as any effects, no, we actually did shoot on film. We shot on
Ah,
Super 16.
yep. Look just like it. Look just
Yeah,
like it.
it
I'm
wasn't
not
my
even.
decision. It was our cinematographer's decision, John Harrison.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like I didn't understand. He comes from a background of photography,
Mhm.
so I didn't like fully understand why he really wanted to go for it. But I trusted his vision, and it came out so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
If that
yeah,
budget right, you know, shooting on film is solid.
it was cute. It was cute. It was cute.
Yeah. You got that budget. How'd you get that? Who supported the film again?
uh, I mean, first, everybody in the Bay Area. First of all,
Yeah.
Bay Area locals supported this film,
Yeah.
friends, family, but our biggest donor was Barry Jenkins.
Ah, nah, that's
Yeah,
dope.
yeah.
That's
We
dope.
yeah, we
That's
got
dope.
lucky. We got lucky with that one. But
That's beautiful.
yeah, we reached out to him on Twitter. Our lead producer Maddie, she reached out
Mm.
to him on Twitter and just was trying to get his attention. And he happened to see the post, and then he looked at our Seed and Spark page. Shout out to Seed and Spark, who helped us out a lot too.
Mm.
And he saw our page, and I guess he liked what we were doing. And I think it was like the first or second night that our Seed and Spark page was actually live, and he funded the entire project.
Wow. And for people who
Yeah,
don't know, Barry Jenkins did Moonlight. He did God,
If Bill Street can talk,
Bill Street. Yeah, Bill Street. So yeah,
like
Barry
personal
Jenkins is the
favorite.
yeah, Barry Jenkins is the man. He's the man.
He
Um
really is.
and my last question, how did you guys get the car shots, you know, and what's next for you? You know, the car shots look beautiful, and I know those are always like, you know, you got to continue to do things. And did you have a camera on, you know, on the car when he made that turn, you know,
Hmm.
and that was crazy. But how did you get that?
Yeah, well, we had an amazing G&E team. First of all, thank you guys so much for doing all that. But they were able to rig the camera to the car, to
Yeah,
the hood of the car, for that specific shot. Um, and it, I didn't even have to question what they were doing because I've worked with them all before. So it worked out perfectly. I told them my vision. I didn't have to, monitor them at all, and they got it done. It was super secure. We didn't have any issues with it. And as far as the other shot on the bridge, that was actually one of our pickup shots that we did earlier this year. And we shot that we woke up super early. It was just me and the cinematographer for the pickup shots, Lyndon. And we strapped the camera inside of the back of my car. I got like this SUV type of car. I opened the back of my car. We strapped down the tripod, put the camera in, woke up at sunrise to go get that shot to make sure that there was no cars on the road. Yeah, they got
Genius.
down. They got down. They were in the back of my car. I was driving. It was like super
Yeah.
guerrilla style.
You gotta love DPs who are just like, yo, I'll risk it all for the shot. Cause I'm the same way. Like, look, bruh, if you gotta
Yeah.
go up there and do it, I'll catch you. Like on the Dre Grant, like we had to literally climb up the fire escape, like to get on top of the roof. I'm like holding the monitor. I'm like climbing up with like my left arm, like climbing up. My
No.
my homie, we're like tossing the camera like up this fire escape in the liquor store, and it's just like, bruh, like you gotta, even though it's you gotta do anything that you can for the shot. You gotta get up early.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. And that's the thing. When you come from the Bay, you gotta be a hustler. You gotta get it. So for me, it's like, man, I done films with no budget. Out the mud. You
You
feel
got
me?
to. You
Out
got
the
to.
mud. You know what I'm saying?
I was actually going to ask you about that too. How
Mhm.
you guys got up there, and honestly, how it was working with Damien, and how did you get Damien to go on top of a roof? Like, how was that process?
Yeah. So it was so pretty much like Dame. I mean, I gave him the vision. Me and Deuce came up with the concepting. And it was like, Dame didn't have no problem hopping up on the roof. He's probably one of the most down to earth
Yeah.
people ever. And literally, I think one of the things that was kind of not scary, but the one thing that I wanted to do was uh I want to do a tribute to Nipsey Hussle. And
Mm,
Nipsey Hussle's video, last time that I checked, he's like, hanging out of his Lamborghini, and he's rapping with like the whole hood behind him, with
hmm.
cars and stuff. So when you see Dame, in those scrapers, and he's literally, rapping, and everybody's behind him, the whole hood is behind him. That
Yeah.
was really a tribute to Nipsey. And I sent Dame the text, and I was like, hey, bro, like, would you be down to do this? And he was like, yeah, bro, it's good. And we followed in the back of a pickup truck, and it was kind of like almost like a homecoming, like parade. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we had the scrapers. Dane was in the scraper. Somebody was driving it, and motorcycles, scraper bikes, all that stuff like was behind him. And it was, I mean, he's the king, of
Hmm.
Brookfield. Like that's his area. That's his hood where he grew up. Like they love him and
Gotcha.
respect him. So it's kind of like the hometown heroes back. We got to show love. So really, not only was it a tribute to Dame and everything that he's done, it was his first music video that he ever
Hmm.
did. It was his first time really, coming back and filming like a music video or film. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it was dope. And rest in peace, Dre Grant. Like, we kind of gave him his flowers with this one. And I think one thing is, I think that he was in and out of jail, but I think that this film really showed like people like how good of a heart that he actually had, and
Hmm.
how he cared about people and he cared about his community. So we gave him his flowers with this one.
There you go. That's a huge accomplishment first, for doing Dame's first video, or yeah, Damien's first video. So congrats on that. But like, you being able to be with Dre in that moment is so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Of
And now
course.
Dame is on the cover of 2K,
There you go. There
making
you
making
go.
moves, making moves.
Do I got time for one more question?
We do, and we have some questions from the audience. So if you promise that you'll answer some from the audience, you can ask
All
your
right.
last one.
Okay, cool,
So
cool, cool.
are you gonna say the questions? I'm not looking at the live stream right now.
Well, Alba, what's yours? We could take like one more minute.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your locations.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when we shot, we got stopped a few times just by locals, just wanting to see what we were doing. Not because they were aggressive in any way, but that they were protective of themselves and their community, especially with all the gentrification and everything that's been happening these past few years. And I wanted to ask you what your process was like getting your locations and gaining everyone's trust.
Man, to keep it 100, Dame just posts on Instagram, "Hey, pull up at this address. We lit." That's
Honestly.
it. One time he was like, we need the whole bay, we need all of Oakland to pull up, and lucky enough, like hella people pulled up. It was a function. We actually had to. The cops were trying to shut it down, but they realized like, oh shit, it's for Damian Lillard. They were like, you know what? As long as y'all don't, act up, y'all good. So really, there wasn't no, it was like, hey, these video dudes are with Damian. Y'all are good for these 2 days,
So now we all know we just have to put an NBA star in all of our movies, and
there you go.
Forgo all location fees.
I got lucky.
Done. Well, I'm really sorry to have to wrap this up because you guys, I just love hearing you both talk about your process and your projects, and I want to just keep hearing about it. If you can, I would love for you to like go back to the live stream and type out some answers to these questions. I think one thing that I'm really curious about, I know other people are curious about, is what's up next for both of you. And if you could just describe it in one sentence before you go, then I'll be satisfied.
I would say next for me is my feature film. I've been writing it for about a year. Me and my co-writer, Lance Holloway, he went to the same high school as me. He's a little bit older. He was in Blind Spotting, actually. But me and him, we just got done writing our first feature film. We're on like draft 10 right now, but starting next week, we're going to start giving it to our managers so they can start shopping it out and hopefully shooting my movie by next summer.
Awesome. Alba?
Same for me. I've been writing a lot. I've been taking this time during our break with COVID to write. So I have a feature, a couple actually in the works right now. So that's a little further down the line, but it's in the works.
Awesome. Well, keep us both in the loop, you guys. And again, tune back into the chat on the YouTube so that you can respond to some other audience questions. I have the sad job of now turning off your videos. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much. You both are awesome. We're so glad to have had you here.